I was totally ready a few months ago to buy new rods. I was looking at the 13 Fishing Envy lineup and the Omen lineup. I put the idea on the back burner for a little while. I was still really happy, and I'm still currently really happy with my Powell Endurance lineup. But I went to grab my spinning rod the other day to go fishing, my 6103. I might be switching sooner than later. Well, I've got a bunch of questions to go over with you guys for last month. I'm just gonna kind of go through them one by one. John Hickey asked in my bass fishing trick worms for Shasta bass in 2016, never seen anyone throw a deep jerkbait Stacy 90 on a crankbait rod. Well, I think that's interesting just because I think a lot of people want to throw a jerkbait on something that they can feel the jerkbait with, which is like a stiffer action rod. The reason why I wouldn't throw a jerkbait on a stiffer action rod is because for me, it's not as important for me to feel the jerkbait as it is for me to feel, well, let me rephrase that. It's not as important for me to feel the jerkbait where it is in the water column as it is as important for me to catch the fish and keep the fish on there. A stiffer action rod is going to tear holes in the fish's mouth and cause the hooks to come loose. A crankbait rod, which is a jerkbait, is a crankbait. I don't care what you call it. You can call it a rib bait, a jerkbait, but it's a crankbait. By the nature of it being a crankbait with the treble hooks that are relatively small, especially on a jerkbait, you definitely are going to risk bending the hooks out or tearing a fish's mouth, which I would like to classify by saying tearing a fish's mouth basically means that you're creating holes in a fish's mouth for the hooks to release. So if you tear holes in a fish's mouth because you have a stiff action rod, you're going to possibly lose the fish. Maybe not every time, but you're definitely increasing the chance that you're going to lose that fish. Josh Kroll asked in the vlog number 13, the running out video, I'd love for you to do a review on the Lucky Craft Real Skin Pointer. They have them on Tackle Warehouse, and I just ordered a few, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on them. I have probably about 4 or 5 of them. I use them from time to time. They're kind of like my rainy day jerkbaits, if you will. They're not necessarily my favorites, but they're not the worst jerkbaits in the world. I like them because at the end of the day, they're still pointers. I also have them in the Stacy 90s. At the base of them, they're still a Lucky Craft jerkbait. That little squid skin that they put over it, I think is just a gimmick. I don't think that it really works for or against. In fact, the color patterns for a Lucky Craft crankbait are so good that when you put that stupid squid skin over the top of it, I think it affects it negatively, but not negatively to the point where it won't catch fish, because I think the action of the lure will catch the fish better than the color of it will. I'm indifferent about it, I guess, to answer your question. I think that they're fine, and if you can, the reason why I bought them, the several of them that I have in that squid skin, is because I found them for like $9 or $8 for a Lucky Craft pointer or a Lucky Craft Stacy 90. Those are $17 baits, and at the base of that squid skin bait, it's still a Stacy 90 or a Pointer 100. In my rod sale and new package video from 2016, Miller Murdahl asked, those Endurance were pretty sweet sticks. Now Powell has really stepped down their rod game, and it's unfortunate. I haven't tried their new Powell Max 3D or whatever they call them. I haven't tried anything new from Powell ever since the Powell Endurance. So I can't speak to them except for what I've seen. I really don't like their new reel seat design. I really thought that the Fuji reel seat that they had on there before that wasn't split was just fine. I liked the cork setup that they had on them. I really just enjoy the rods. You know, the purple on the Endurance and the pink in some spots definitely wasn't my first choice in color on those rods, but those rods are very good rods and they've lasted me a long time. And I still fish with them to this day. I know a lot of people have complained about the new Powell rods as not being as good or inferior to the to the old Powell Max and the old Powell Endurances. But again, I can only speak to what I see. And as far as what I see, I think that they're not as good. They don't look as good, at least. In my lure review, Lucky Craft Rick Clun wake bait video, John Chili Lolo asked, I'm going through all your crankbait vids. Good work. What is your #1 go-to crank? Well, if I'm ever just gonna throw like a regular 1.5 size squirrel bowl crankbait, which is probably my #1 crankbait that I throw, which is just a square bill 1.5 style crankbait, which there's a million of them out there. My #1 would either be one of two. It would either be a Lucky Craft LC 1.5, rattling or non-rattling, I don't really care. Or it would be an Excalibur XCS. The XCS series is discontinued now. I don't know if Booyah picked up that model of crankbait. I know that Booyah picked up everything that Excalibur was doing. In fact, I think it's the same company. I think they just rebranded it. But I don't know if they're still making the XCS series or not. From my Mystery Tackle Box November 2016 video, Robert Robertson asked, hi, can I get a Slap in the Bass sticker for my collection to save? Thanks, Robert, RSVP. Robert, I'd be happy to send you a Slap in the Bass sticker. In fact, one of the main reasons why I got the stickers was I see people from time to time, and I wanted to be able to kind of throw somebody a sticker or something like that in recognition for, you know, watching the channel, and something, you know, tangible that I can give to somebody that I see in public. So that was the whole reason behind me making those stickers. They're for you guys. So if anybody out there wants a Slap in the Bass sticker, or, you know, the beaver head or the full beaver, or if you want a hat, just let me know. I'd be happy to send one out to you. From my Mystery Tackle Box November 2016 video, 95 Power Stroke asked, how can I get a hold of one of those stickers from the intro? Same deal, if you want a sticker, I will send you one. Just let me know. You can get a hold of me on Facebook or something. From my top 5 best topwater hardbaits video from 2014, I'm just getting over a cold. That's why I sound really nasally. PJ Dom asks, how does the Head'n Chuggin' Spook compare to the Lucky Craft Gunfish, and which do you prefer? The Gunfish, all the way, 100%. The Chuggin' Spook is still a really good bait. I don't mind it. Of the cupped mouth walking baits that are out there that are not just a dedicated popper, but like an actual walking bait that has a cup mouth on it, I like the Chuggin' Spook a lot. But to me, it doesn't hold a candle to the Gunfish. The Gunfish is just, I'm a little bit biased towards it. I have a special place in my heart for the Gunfish because I've caught a lot of big fish on it. It seems like when they come after the Gunfish, they come after it violently, like they hate it. From my top 5 best rip baits, jerk baits video back in 2014, 95 Power Stroke asked, what kept the Megabass 110 out of this list? When I made this list, I knew that this was going to be something that came up. I knew that people were going to be upset that the Megabass Vision 110 didn't make it on the list. And the reason why I didn't make it on the list was, at the beginning of these videos, I qualified my top 5 as being baits that had to meet a certain criteria. One of the criteria was it had to be available, so availability, price, which both of those two, the Megabass Vision 110 doesn't meet at all. There's a lot of places, like, you can't buy a Vision 110 at every Walmart in your county. You can't buy a Vision 110 at most of your bait and tackle shops unless they're specializing in selling bass and they have a lot of equipment. The Megabass Vision 110 is very expensive. I think at its cheapest is $24. Most of the time I think it's anywhere around $26. And that's on Tackle Warehouse, which they seem to always have them, which is great. Megabass has some wonderful colors, and everybody swears by Megabass. But those two criteria were huge for me, and the reason why I kept it off. There was another one, I'm just remembering as I'm talking about it. The other reason was a lot of people complain about the Megabass Vision 110 breaking. You're going to pay $26 for a lure that breaks towards the tail section, or the bill breaks off. To me, that's inexcusable. You can't have a bait that's that expensive that's going to break. The way that fish bite on to a jerkbait they bite onto it in such a way, and when they fight it, they put a lot of pressure on those baits, so they need to be made well. The fact that a Megabass Vision 110 will break upon catching a fish, or upon running it up on some rocks and breaking that little fragile bill off of it, is inexcusable. A lot of people say they catch fish on them. They have wonderful action. They're very unique, and there's nothing else out there like them. And if you want to catch a fish, that's what you use. But to me, my qualifying criteria were 5 or 6 things, and it didn't meet several of them, so that was the reason why. I get the question a lot, which is, I'm sure you don't mean anything. I'm sure you don't mean anything by your question. I'm sure you're just wondering, and I appreciate the question, and I'm happy to answer it. But at the same time, when I look at that bait, and I think about that bait and why it should be in my top 5, or why it shouldn't be in my top 5, I keep thinking about those 3 things. I know that a Spro stick or a Lucky Craft Pointer 100, I could throw it out there, I can bang them up against rocks, and they won't break, because I've had them and they don't break. And they also catch fish, and they catch the hell out of fish, and they're available. I think that there are good, expensive baits that do meet the criteria. For me, the Vision 110 just doesn't meet that criteria. But 95 power stroke, I appreciate the question. That's all the questions that I have for this week, you guys. Really appreciate it. Again, I'm going to continue with this format of asking questions on video, or answering questions on video monthly. It's a lot easier to reach out to the audience in a monthly forum like this. So if you guys have any questions at all, you can leave them down in the description on this video or any other video that I have in my archive. If you guys like the video, or you like the format, or you like anything about this video, if you like my new sunglasses, just got them, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And stay tuned for my next video. I've got several things coming out. I don't know when they're going to come out, probably within the next couple of days, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. But stay tuned for those. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.